There's a big problem I've seen with people wanting to learn the drums over 50. I've been teaching the drums for over 25 years, and fortunately a ton of my students have been in that age group. And here's the issue. Even though they're 50 and older, they try to learn the instrument the same way they would have when they were in their teens or their 20s. And we're just different people by the point we get to 50, 60, and 70. So here's my biggest tips that will help you expedite your learning and get the most out of your practice time when you're 50 and over and just learning the drums. This first one is learn a song as quickly as possible. Now look, I do in-person drum camps here. I've got an online drum school and a ton of my students are 50 plus. And one of the things that I really stress is that we gotta celebrate daily wins. That's why in the beginner's lesson course that I have in my members area, one thing I want you to do is learn a song very quickly. We learn a song in just the first couple of lessons. Why? Because it's an easy win. To go from not playing an instrument and not playing music to playing an instrument and playing music, that's a huge leap in your confidence. And I want you to make that leap as quickly as possible. And to be honest with you, music and the drums are just not that hard to be able to put your foot in there and start playing, kind of get in the water and get going a little bit. So what I want you to do is learn a song quickly. If you haven't learned one yet, you just started playing, go to the YouTube channel and you can just look up, my name with first song on the drums. There's gonna be a ton of stuff that comes up. I have two videos I did on 100 songs you could play with just one drum beat. So learn a song as absolutely quickly as possible. Now remember, you're not in your teens, you're not in your 20s. You're 50 and older, so you're feeling like, oh man, is life passing me by? One of the things that I hear the most is, am I gonna have enough time to get good enough? Don't give in to FOMO, that fear of missing out. It's gonna hold your learning back and it's gonna frustrate the whole process. I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation. Now look, I'm 43, so I'm almost to that benchmark, right? What I have to stress to them is, I have the same conversation with my kids. We can't feel like we don't have enough time. You have enough time. You can go ahead and plug in. As a matter of fact, you're in the prime of your life. Look up at how many things people accomplish, 50, 60 plus. You are in the prime of your life because you've learned about yourself, you know how you work, you know how you learn, so you're gonna be able to expedite this process. But the thing that will slow it down is you getting in your head and telling yourself, I don't have enough time to be good enough at the drums. You do. You have plenty of time and there's no better time to start than now. This one's an important one and adults have problems with it. Realize you're going to sound bad on the drums at first, and that's totally okay. You are going to sound like a 6-year-old that just picked up the sticks. And we as adults have problems. One of my students told me at a drum camp, he said, look man, it's different whenever we're adults. When you're kids and you're trying to learn something, they're like, oh, that's cute, they're trying. When you're an adult, they're like, oh my gosh, what's Jim doing over there? Is he trying to, that's embarrassing, We have to get over that and realize, you know what? I'm learning a new skill. I've done this my whole life, multiple skills, and now I'm doing it with a new one, so I'm gonna sound bad for just a little while. But the great news is we know what quality sounds like, we know what it looks like, so you're gonna be able to get to that end point much quicker. But please, allow yourself the space to be a beginner. It's okay. This tip is big. Look, the internet's great. It's a great place to find information. It's not a great place to organize information. So one of the biggest struggles that my learners that are 50 and over have, my students, is they're just grabbing at stuff. They're not accustomed to having so many options all the time, and so they're jumping from thing to thing to thing, which is not the way you've learned your whole life. What you need to do is you need to find yourself a good teacher, you need to find yourself a good online program, you need to find yourself a good online community, and you need to get a plan. That is going to make you feel confident that you know where you're going, which as an adult is very important to us. And it's gonna make you feel like you're making the best use of a time, which again, as an adult is very important for us to feel that way. Like you've probably worked your whole life. You need to feel like you're making progress and going towards a goal. So it's very important that you find a teacher or an online program. I have one, there's others out there. I would love to have you be a part of it. But in the end, I just want you to get better at the drums. And I know that whether it be with me or someone else or through a book or another program, you just need to get plugged into it. You need to decide what you need to do and you need to start down that course. The sooner you do that, the sooner you're gonna start seeing those daily wins. This one's a cool one, we don't often think about this. So as we get 50 and older, we're now trying to fight against the aging process. Up until that point, we're like, let me see how much muscle mass I can get, let me see. And past 50, 60, you're like, wait a second, I wanna be able to pick my grandkids up, hold on. I wanna be able to, I'm losing my balance. Why am I losing my balance? I can't remember things as well as I used to. I'm not as strong as all of those things are important. So at some point we take a turn and now we're gonna try to fight against and slow the tide of the aging process. The great thing is the drums are the perfect vehicle to do that. They are physical, so you are getting physical activity, you are hitting things, bone density will increase according to the weight that's put against it. I think that's Moore's Law or Wolf's Law, I forget which one. So you just hitting these drums is great for your body if we do it in a proper way. Getting the exercise, there's tons of studies out there about the heart rate, how much the heart rate goes up, how much exercise drumming actually is. Then there's some great studies as well that point out just how much the brain is doing whenever we are looking at something on paper and trying to interpret it, but also hearing it. So you're playing something, you're hearing it and trying to modify that at the same time, plus the coordination aspect. You don't have to do Sudokus. You could just start learning to play an instrument. And the drums is a perfect one because we have to use all 4 limbs. So you can feel great for no other reason besides like, this is one of the best things I could do to fight and retard the aging process. If I could shout this one from the rooftops, I would. The students that I get to do this see the most progress. Interviews with students on my podcast, on this channel, of students that are 60 plus, and it's like they've entered this whole other phase of life. I've got one student in Puerto Rico that I'm thinking of right now, one in Boston that I'm thinking of. What's up, Pooley? What's up, Richard? Alec, I can think about. There's several others that are just killing it in their prime, and they're all of a sudden discovering, wow, there's this whole other area of life that I never thought could be a part of my life. So they've retired from whatever they're doing, or they're still doing that career, and they've also now got this thing where they're playing out in bands on the weekends or whatever. We want to incubate because we don't feel we're very good at it, but the best thing you can do is get out and rub shoulders and rub elbows with other musicians and other players. They want you to do that. The reason I felt like I made so much progress in my teenage years was because like a couple weeks after I had my drum set, I was out multiple times during the week playing with people, rehearsals. I wasn't good enough to be there, but somehow I got in the room, right? So I need the same for you. If there's a local jam, go find it. If you can find some people just to get together at your house to play, go do that. If you've got a friend that plays guitar, invite them over. Whatever you gotta do, make it social and make it in person. And I promise you, you are going to see some incredible gains. Plus, you're going to have this community and you're going to introduce to yourself this new area of life of like, wow, this isn't just me in a room by myself playing the drums. This is like other musicians, this is people, this is a language. I can communicate with them through that. And that's what I want you to get. If you're watching this and you don't quite know where to start, maybe you just started out, maybe you've been going for 6 or 10 months or 12 months, you're like, I'm not seeing any progress. I'd love to help with that. I've got some resources, they're all linked below. I've got my online drum school, it's been open now for 13 plus years. A ton of my students are 60 plus in that age demographic. So I very much know where you are in life, and I've worked with people in your same boat. I'd love to work with you as well. I do in-person camps. The 2025 schedule has released. Those will sell out. So if you're interested in coming to those, you can check that out in the link below. They're a ton of fun, and it's all about drumming, but it's also about community and about just having a good week-long experience that involves drumming. This next one's funny because so many people miss it. And I had a student tell me at a camp recently, they were like, I just never thought to approach my practice time the same way I used to approach my work day. And I said, yeah, it's funny, the skills we learn at work are really, really beneficial if we'll let ourselves engage with those skills in our practice time. Well, what am I talking about? Task management, goal setting, managing your schedule, managing your time, laying out for yourself a plan for the day. All of those things are really beneficial. And a lot of times creatives don't have those skills. But chances are, if you've been a professional in any field, you've had to learn how to manage your day. You've had to learn how to manage your time. And that becomes really, really important in your practice time. So take 5-10 minutes before the week starts and go, okay, when am I gonna show up to practice? If you're retired, that's great. Just because you have 12 hours a day to practice doesn't mean you need to practice 12 hours a day. You need to have a life. So go, okay, on Monday, I'm gonna practice at this time. And the best way to start this habit is to anchor it to another habit that you have. So like, okay, I have, breakfast and coffee with my wife wife at 8 a.m. every morning. Right after that at 9 a.m., I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna get an hour of drumming in, or whatever that looks like. After my afternoon coffee, I'm gonna go, after lunch, after, I'm talking a lot about food here. Whatever that looks like for you, but anchor it to another habit. And then what am I gonna do when I get there? Okay, I'm gonna have 1 hour. How do I divide that time up? Here's the things I wanna work on. And then set a timer. Once the timer goes off, okay, I'm gonna move to the next thing. Track your progress. Keep a little practice journal. I did this well, I did this. Check things off. All of these seem so simple. They're gonna go a long way with giving you the motivation you need to show up every day and to kill it. Playing music is great. We all wanna play music, but we can't sit here all day on the drums. We have other things to do. So here's a pro tip. Incorporate music throughout your day. Have different playlists that you listen to while you're doing yard work, different playlists that you listen to while you're working out, maybe a playlist you listen to while you're having a romantic dinner with your spouse, a playlist you listen to while you're cooking or doing housework, whatever, a playlist you're doing, listen to with your grandkids. I love listening to music with my kids. It's one of my favorite things to do in the car. They'll put on their playlist. I just love hearing what they're listening to. So make it a part of your day as well. Go to live shows, watch music documentaries, read books about music, listen just for the sake of listening. Make music something that you do throughout your day instead of something you just do in your practice time. And if you do that, it's gonna make your life so much richer and you're gonna have so much more fun with this thing. And that brings me to the biggest tip, and that is have fun. We as adults forget that it's fun to be alive. And it's fun to learn new things, and music is fun. And not only that, it's okay to have fun. It's okay for a large portion of your day to be spent smiling and laughing and having fun doing something that you love that maybe doesn't bring you monetary gain. It is okay to have fun. I would say it is part of the criteria of having a successful drumming career, even if you just play in your basement. Letting it bring smile and a lightness to your day. It's so important, but you would not believe the number of adults that I meet that have trouble just letting themselves not be so serious about it and go, you know what? I'm gonna have fun with this.